All right, let's try out something a little bit new today. So I started a new training block, so I figured I'd go over my lower body A workout, which is a little bit more like athletic focused. So essentially right now, what I've been doing for the last few months, actually probably more so a year or so, but I've been following an upper body, lower body split. So it's generally upper, lower, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday. And generally I have kind of specific goals for these sessions. So as of right now, I kind of label or deem one more athletic focus. So this is ones where we're touching on different qualities, like jumping, whether that be extensive, intensive, generally both of these, different types of direction changes, velocity, strength building, power building, et cetera, et cetera. And then my other one is focused on more kind of specific hypertrophy work. So let's break down lower body athletic day, which is going to be A for this new training block. So how I have it set up right now is you can see kind of the full thing over here to the left, and then I'm going to be breaking down each individual exercise and kind of what the focus is, what my goal is, what I'm thinking about, et cetera, et cetera. So first and foremost, I did not film my warm-up. So all I did today was about 3 minutes on the air bike, and then I did 3-minute jog on the air runner. And then I did some dynamic stretches. Why I didn't include these? Because they change from day to day, and they should be more specific for you. If anyone's interested in it, and to be honest, I have posted before, but if anyone interested in seeing the dynamic warm-ups I chose for this day or what I like to do, just let me know. But it's pretty simple and basic. And biggest thing I want to say is through getting in the gym and finishing dynamic warm-ups, I try to get that done at like 10 minutes or less, okay? So did general warm-up, dynamic warm-ups, and then we got into our extensive Plios series. So let's kind of talk about this. So for today and what I've been doing for a while, just to kill more birds with one stone, I do this kind of contrasty, or some people call them pulses, as I'm going through these extensive Plios. So every 2 to 5 jumps or so, I add in this more intensive type of plyo, okay? So again, it might be boom, boom, bam, and let's spike up intensity, get a little bit higher off the floor. And again, this is just different variations and exposures to different ground reaction forces and things like that. Same type of deal. Now these are out and in. I stole this from Compound Performance. But this is the biggest thing when we're talking about extensive plyos. They don't need to be anything magical. Do some front and back, do some side to side, however you want to do it. Have fun with it. So you'll kind of see what I do. So again, just normal to the fronts, in and out with the legs. Again, same thing, adding some contrast in there. Let's go on to the next one. This is going to be more slalom jump here. So side to side, same thing. I'll boost it every few jumps. Cool. And then let's fast forward a little bit more. Now we're going backwards. Same thing. Boom, 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 bam. Boom, 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 bam. Cool. And then finishing off with a little bit of single leg work. Again, quick, a little bit more power. Quick, a little bit more power. Same thing on the other side. Sweet. And for me, extensive plyos, it's a great way to warm up and a great way to just maintain good kind of tissue quality and some of that elasticity that we want in our ankle. So no, do I think this is intense enough to produce any type of meaningful adaptation? Probably not, unless you're brand new to these. For me, it's just maintaining these adaptations. Again, maintaining ankle stiffness, maintaining just overall tissue quality when we're talking about that lower leg complex. So after the extensive plyos, and those take me a few minutes, then I got into squatty plyos. And this is nothing I'm just kind of messing around with. So kind of similar thing is just same reason why we want to have good tissue quality and tolerance and capacity at that ankle, and more of a shortened bias when we're looking at muscles. I want the same thing, but in a longer muscle length and just different positions, essentially. So same thing, I'm just going front and back, and a goal here is again maintaining good tissue quality, maintaining some stiffness and bounciness in these end ranges. I'll hit some of those front and back, and then give myself about a minute, and then same thing, let's go side to side with it. Nothing too crazy here, and it's just a good way to warm up in some of those deeper positions, in my opinion. Again, I don't think there's going to probably be any type of meaningful adaptations from these. It's just kind of maintaining good, again, tissue quality, a little bit of elasticity in these deeper joint angles and longer muscle lengths. All right, so then we got into some single leg contrast work for today. So of course, oops, this is the one movement I did not film. All right, so I just filmed it here a second ago, but this was a superset. So this is a contrast superset. So we're going from more of like a slower strength movement to a faster, higher velocity movement. So what I would do is today I started, the box I used at the gym was around this height. 6 reps, nice and controlled, going down, going up. I will modify from week to week the range of motion and also adding some load. But again, this is more of kind of the strength side of things. And then what I did, so if I start with the right leg, boom, did the right leg, gave myself about 45 seconds. And then I went into more of an explosive, again, expressing more power, velocity, things like that. So this is what I chose. So first one was this kind of explosive step up. These look ugly today, so bear with me. They will get better over time. But again, more of a strength movement, more of like, again, a power, fast movement. Boom. So for today, rep schemes on the single leg squat, 6, and then on this explosive, it was just 3. And what I'm messing around with is keeping that primary exercise consistent, but having exposure to different kind of power movements for the second. So the first set, and I only did 2 of these today because I'm just, again, graded exposure is your friend when we have new training cycles and new exercises. So, and then the second round went back to the single leg squat, but the second movement I replaced with this guy here, which was not easy. So this is going to be half kneeling, kind of rock forward and try to jump off that lead leg, land on 2. Boom, bam. So same thing, 6 reps on the squat, gave myself about 45 seconds, and I went to 3 reps here. Goal here is powerful, high velocity, getting off the floor as quick as humanly possible. So again, I'm going to mess around with this where essentially that primary is staying consistent, that secondary, I'm going to mess around, just have different exposures. But my goal here is to keep similar qualities. So again, single leg and just something powerful. So you'll even see how I log these. Let me close out of these guys. How I log these. Single leg explosive of choice. And I can kind of choose, do I want to keep it consistent? Do I want to change exposures? And I'm just going to do it based on how I feel that day, and just kind of experiment around with it and have some fun. So then secondary exercise. So this is more just strength focused, no other exercise paired with this one. We're doing a safety squat bar. Squat today, heel elevated. Again, this is week 1, so I'm just slowly inching my way. My last cycle had a lot of hinging, so I just want a little bit more vertical squatting for today, a little bit more forward knee translation. Let's build those quads. Let's get strong vertically. So again, this was 2 warm-up sets and 2 working sets. I still was probably RPE maybe 6, 7, maybe on the final set. But again, with new training blocks, graded exposures, your friends, so give yourself some time and acclimation, week or 2, things like that. Make sure everything feels good. So this was just one of my sets here. Again, nothing too crazy, just a normal squat. I do really want I really want to bury these. I want to get deep on these. I want a good amount of forward translation. So yes, when I do my squats, I do think of more of a knees forward pattern as opposed to hips back. If I'm hinging, then I'm going to go hips back. But when I'm squatting, I want to use those quads as much as I can. So that is that guy. Okay, so 2 working sets, 2 warm-ups on that one. That was kind of the bread and butter of just bilateral strength. And then we went into this kind of 3-part series of accessory work. And when I do these, there's not a giant rush from exercise to exercise. So let's break it down. First one, glute ham, developer Nordics. So right here, so this was my final set where I added some load on these ones. For the Nordics, they were in my last training block, and I've just been feeling good with them. I've been progressing them really well, and it's just a good kind of hamstring knee flexion exercise. So this was my last set on these ones. And man, it makes such a huge difference adding any type of load. It's crazy. So, and obviously I can work on keeping my hips a little bit more extended in the concentric phase when I'm pulling back, but I'm okay with that. That's totally fine with me. But the goal here is probably keeping these 8 and below and just adding load essentially. So started with that in this kind of tri series here, tri set. Give myself probably 45 seconds to a minute. And then we went into reverse crunches. All right. So on these lower body days, I just like to do some sort of spine something. And even these ones might change week to week, or might do a few weeks of them or a whole training block. It just kind of depends how I feel. But these are not ones where I feel like you need to be immensely consistent, do it for 15 weeks and progress. I think you can have different exposures as long as we're getting relatively close to failure and giving some good effort on these ones. So went into these. Added the ab mat for this block. For me personally, I don't have a lot of tolerance at this very end range of extension, like going from eccentric to concentric phase. So I'm just slowly easing in. Here's this motherfucker drinking a shake by me. So that was exercise 2 in that try. And then 3 is just working on some positional isometrics. And this one's new for me for this phase. And there's not a giant rhyme or reason. Last one, I was doing some drop lunges. So for this phase, I said, you know what? Let's load up some isos and let's just see how that feels on the hips and knees and ankles and things. So here I am doing those. Nothing too crazy. I just started with 2 sets, 30 seconds, 75 pounds for the first set, 95 pounds for the second set. Nothing too wild there. And that was just 2 total sets through those. So you can see 2 Nordics, 2 reverse crunches, 2 split squat iso holds. I did skip the max distance run for today. It's fine. There's someone on the Assault Air Runner, but I will throw those back in next week. And then I just did a little ankle stuff. Okay, so last ones here were just some tib raises. So I elevated the heels on this one, and this is just to get a little bit more plantar flexion. These have become extremely popular because of the knees over toe guys, stuff like that. I don't think they're going to entirely fix your knee problems, and I think there's other ways to get good stimulus and adaptation to those muscles. But I throw these in a few times a year. They're not in every single training block, but because I've been running more and spending more time plantar flexed, I want to get some more active dorsiflexion in there and just kind of see what happens, see how my foot and ankles feel from that. I have ran into some plantar fasciitis, so I'm also curious to see if this helps with any of that. But that was exercise A in this pair, and then B was actually just a loaded calf stretch. Another one messing around with this. There's some good literature when it comes to hypertrophy and mobility as well. So all I did here was elevated the toes, got a nice stretch to the kind of calf ankle complex there, loaded up with 2 35-pound dumbbells, hung on for a minute, kind of wiggled around and stretched that guy out, and that was it for that lower body A workout. So pretty simple. Again, let's conclude this one. Dynamic warm-up, extensive Plios, squatty Plios. Then we went into a single leg contrast, 2 sets of that for today. Then we went into our heavy bilateral strength movement, did the squats. And then we had a 3-part accessory work, Nordic, reverse crunch, split squat iso. And then we finished with some tibialis raises and loaded calf stretch. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think.